I used to love staying late at the university library. As a graduate student, those quiet evening hours were perfect for research. The old Carnegie Library had this peaceful atmosphere that helped me focus. But after what happened last October, I can't even walk past that building without feeling sick to my stomach. It was a Tuesday night around 9 p.m. Most students had already left, but I needed to finish a chapter for my thesis defense. I'd chosen a table on the third floor, in the history section where it was always quieter. The librarians were making their rounds, preparing for the 10 o'clock closing time. I was deep in my work when I first heard it. A soft rustling sound, like pages being turned very slowly. I looked up from my laptop, but didn't see anyone nearby. The sound came again, definitely the whisper of paper against paper. I figured someone was browsing in the next aisle over, but when I got up to check, the aisles were empty, completely empty. I walked down 3 different rows, looking for whoever was making the noise. Nothing. The rustling had stopped the moment I stood up. I returned to my table, telling myself I was just tired and hearing things. 20 minutes later, a librarian approached my table. She was an older woman I'd seen before, always friendly. But tonight, she looked concerned. She asked if I'd seen anyone else on this floor recently. When I told her about the page-turning sounds, her expression grew troubled. She said I was the only person left up here. She left me with an uneasy feeling, but I had work to finish. I tried to focus on my research, but every small sound seemed amplified in the growing silence. The building's heating system creaked. Somewhere, a book fell. Each noise made me look up, scanning the empty aisles around me. That's when I noticed the book. It was sitting on the corner of my table, opened to a page I definitely hadn't been reading. It was an old historical text about the university's founding. I was certain it hadn't been there before. I closed it and set it aside, assuming a librarian had left it there. 10 minutes later, the book was open again. Different page this time. My hands were shaking as I reached for it. The page showed a photograph of the library from 1962, with a caption about a student who had died in the building. A graduate student named Marcus Webb, found dead at a third-floor table after hours. The lights started going out, not all at once, but section by section, moving systematically through the building. I could hear the heavy footsteps of security making their final rounds. I packed quickly, shoving my laptop into my bag. But as I stood to leave, I heard that rustling again. Closer this time. Books were moving, not falling, but sliding outward from the shelves, just an inch or two, as if invisible fingers were pulling them. It was happening in a line, moving down the aisle toward me. One after another, books shifting forward with that same soft rustling sound I'd been hearing all night. I ran. Not walked. Ran toward the stairs. But every step I took, I could hear something behind me. Footsteps that matched my pace exactly, but just slightly delayed. When I stopped, they stopped. When I ran faster, they followed. I didn't dare look back until I reached the stairwell. When I finally turned around, I saw him. A translucent figure standing at the end of the aisle I'd just left. He looked exactly like the photograph in the book Young, wearing clothes from decades past. He was staring directly at me, and his mouth was moving like he was trying to speak, but no sound came out. I stumbled down the stairs, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. The main floor was completely dark now, except for the exit signs. I could feel him following me, that presence right behind me, growing stronger. The air was getting colder with each step I took toward the doors. I burst through the front doors into the cold night air, gasping like I'd been underwater. I didn't stop running until I reached my dorm. The next day, I researched Marcus Webb. He'd been found dead at a table on the 3rd floor in 1962. Same section where I'd been sitting. Apparent heart failure while studying late at night. I never went back to that library. I finished my thesis using online resources and other campus buildings. But sometimes, when I drive past it at night, I swear I can see a light on the 3rd floor. Just one small light, like a desk lamp in the history section. And I wonder if Marcus is still there, still trying to finish his work, still trying to tell someone what happened to him all those years ago.